A homeless teen was thrown out with nothing but a torn backpack. But within 24 hours, he would own a $1 abandoned farm that no one dared to touch. Before we start, join our YouTube by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, let's get into the story. It was 6:12 in the morning when Ryan Carter got kicked out. The sky was still gray. The air was cold enough to sting his fingers, and everything he owned sat in a torn black backpack at his feet. "You've got nothing left here." "Kid," the shelter manager said, not even looking at him. Ryan didn't argue, because deep down, he knew it was true. He had nothing, no family, no money, no place to go, and now, not even a bed. But what happened next? No one could have predicted. Not even Ryan. The road outside the shelter was empty. Just long stretches of cracked asphalt and silent buildings that didn't care whether he stayed or disappeared. Ryan pulled his hoodie tighter and started walking. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he couldn't stay still. Because when you stay still, the thoughts get louder. The hunger, the fear, the memories, they catch up to you. By noon, the sun burned through the clouds. Ryan sat on the edge of a broken sidewalk outside a gas station, counting the only money he had. $1. That was it. One wrinkled bill. He stared at it like it was a joke. "Yeah, that'll fix everything," he muttered. A truck roared past. Dust hit his face. He wiped it off and looked across the street. There was a small notice board near an old hardware store. Most people ignored it. Just old papers, faded ads, things no one cared about anymore. But Ryan had nothing else to do. So he walked over. Flyers for missing dogs, old furniture for sale, garage sales that already happened. And then something strange. A paper, barely holding on by one corner, flapping in the wind. Handwritten, messy, almost like someone didn't care if anyone saw it. Ryan pulled it off and read it. "For sale. Abandoned farm. $1. Must take as is, no questions." Ryan blinked. "Then read it again. $1?" He laughed. Actually laughed out loud. This has to be fake. But there was an address. A real one. Out in the countryside, about an hour away. Ryan looked back at the dollar in his hand. Then at the paper. Then back at the dollar. His stomach growled. He could buy food, a sandwich, maybe two. That would last a day. But this was something else. Something bigger. Or maybe something stupid. He didn't know. But something inside him, something quiet but strong, said one thing. Go! So he did. The farm was worse than he imagined. Way worse. The wooden fence was broken in half, hanging like it gave up years ago. The barn leaned to one side, like it might collapse if the wind blew a little harder. Weeds covered everything. Tall, wild, uncontrolled, like nature had already decided. This place was hers now. Ryan stepped forward slowly. The ground crunched under his shoes. Every sound felt louder out here. Too quiet, too empty. "Hello?" he called out. Nothing, no answer, no movement. Just wind brushing through dead grass. Then he saw it. A small mailbox at the edge of the property. Rusty, bent, but inside, a single envelope. Ryan opened it. Inside was a piece of paper. A contract. Simple. Short. Almost suspiciously easy. Sign your name. Give $1. The farm is yours. No guarantees. No responsibility. No history provided. Ryan frowned. No history? That part stuck with him. Why would someone leave that out? But then again, who sells land for $1? Something was off. Something wasn't right. But Ryan looked around again. At the broken barn. The empty land. The silence. And then he looked down at his shoes. Worn out. Dirty. Barely holding together. He remembered sleeping on cold concrete. Getting ignored like he didn't exist. Being told he wasn't worth anything. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something different. Not fear, not hunger, but a chance, a small one, maybe a stupid one. But still, A chance. Ryan pulled out the dollar, placed it inside the envelope, and signed his name, Ryan Carter. Just like that. The homeless kid with nothing owned a farm. That first night was rough. The barn smelled like rot and old wood. The wind howled through the broken walls, and every small noise felt like something was watching him. Ryan didn't sleep much. He sat in the corner, holding a small flashlight, listening, waiting, but nothing came. Just silence. By morning, reality hit hard. "This place is a mess," he said, looking around. The roof leaked. The tools were rusted. The ground was dry and cracked. Even the well didn't work. There was no water, no electricity, nothing. "Great," Ryan sighed. "I bought a dead farm." But that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was he didn't know what he was doing. Not even a little. He had never farmed, never fixed anything big, never built something from nothing. All he knew was survival. And this was something else. Still, he tried. First, he cleaned a small area, just enough to sit without stepping on broken glass. Then he tried fixing the well. He found an old wrench and started turning bolts. Nothing moved. He pushed harder. The wrench slipped. Clang. It hit the ground. "Come on!" Ryan shouted. He tried again. And again. Nothing. The well stayed dead. By afternoon, his hands were covered in dirt and cuts. His stomach was empty again, and the sun felt heavier than before. "This was a mistake," he whispered. But he didn't leave. Not yet. 2 days later, a pickup truck pulled up. A man stepped out. Clean clothes, confident walk. He looked around the farm. Then at Ryan. "You bought this place?" the man asked. Ryan nodded. "For $1? Ryan nodded again. The man laughed. Not a small laugh. A loud, mocking laugh. "Kid, this land is worthless." Ryan said nothing. "The soil's dead. The water's gone. This place has been abandoned for years." He shook his head. "You got scammed." Ryan clenched his fists. "I didn't have much to lose," he replied. The man smirked. "No, you didn't." He turned and walked back to his truck, then paused. "Oh, and one more thing," he added. "People around here, they don't come near this land." Ryan looked up. "Why?" The man smiled slightly, but it wasn't a friendly smile, because of what's under it. Then he drove away, leaving Ryan alone, again, with those words echoing in his head. "What's under it?" Ryan looked down at the ground. Dry, cracked, silent. Nothing special, nothing strange. At least, that's what it looked like. But something about that sentence didn't sit right, and for the first time since he arrived, Ryan felt it. Not fear, but curiosity. A question that wouldn't leave him alone. What was really under this farm? And why did everyone avoid it? He didn't know it yet. But that question was about to change everything. 3 weeks passed, then 3 months, then a full year. And Ryan Carter didn't leave. At first, it didn't make sense. He had no water system, no electricity, no money, no experience, just a broken farm that everyone called useless. But something inside him refused to quit. Every morning started the same way. Cold air, empty stomach, rough hands, and work. Always work. Ryan learned fast that survival wasn't about strength. It was about trying again after failing. He fixed small things first. A broken fence, a leaking roof patch, a rusty hand pump that barely gave muddy water. Every win was tiny, but every failure was loud. And there were many. One morning, he tried planting seeds he bought from a nearby town. He dug rows into the dry soil, watered them carefully, waited. Nothing grew, not even a single sprout. "They're dead soil seeds," an old farmer nearby told him, laughing. "You can't grow anything there." Ryan didn't respond. But that night, he dug deeper. He tested the soil with his bare hands. Dry, lifeless, strange, like it refused to hold anything alive. Still, he didn't stop. Another time, he tried fixing the old barn generator. It sparked once, then exploded in a flash of light and smoke. Ryan fell back, coughing. Neighbors heard it. One of them shouted from a distance, "You're gonna burn that place down!" Another added, "That land is cursed, kid. Cursed." That word followed him everywhere. But Ryan didn't believe in curses. He believed in broken systems. And broken things could be fixed. By the 6th month, people stopped laughing. Not because they respected him, but because they thought he was insane. A homeless kid living alone on a dead farm, trying to bring it back to life. Every week, he walked miles for supplies. Every penny he earned from odd jobs went back into tools. Screwdrivers, pipes, old manuals. He studied at night using a cracked phone battery and borrowed internet from a roadside cafe. How to restore soil health. Water table recovery basics. Underground irrigation systems. He didn't understand everything, but he understood enough to keep going. Then came the winter. That was the real test. Snow hit early. Wind cut through the barn walls like knives. Ryan wrapped himself in 3 jackets and still shivered. Food became rare. Work became harder. And for the first time, he thought about leaving. One night, sitting near a weak fire, he whispered to himself, maybe they were right. He looked around the empty barn, the broken tools, the silent land outside. I should have sold that $1. Bought food. Just survived. He closed his eyes. And for a moment, he almost gave up. But then he remembered something. That man's voice. Because of what's under it. Ryan opened his eyes again. No, he said quietly. There's something here. And he wasn't done yet. Spring came slowly. And with it, something changed. Not the farm, but Ryan. On top of it. But he didn't know yet. He had only scratched the surface. The night Ryan decided to dig deeper, the wind stopped. Not slowly, not naturally. It just stopped. The entire farm went silent, like the world had pressed pause. Ryan stood outside the barn holding a shovel. His flashlight flickered once, then steadied. This is it, he whispered to himself. He didn't fully understand what he was looking for, but he knew one thing. He couldn't ignore it anymore. He started digging at the exact spot where the metal had been. The soil was harder this time, like it resisted him. Every shovel strike felt heavier than the last. Clank, clank, clank. Then finally, clank. Louder, deeper, solid. Ryan dropped to his knees. He brushed away dirt with his hands. Metal! A panel. But this one had seams, edges, bolts. This wasn't random scrap buried underground. This was built, engineered, hidden. His heart pounded. This is real, he whispered. He pulled harder at the edges. The panel didn't move. Locked. He ran back to the barn, grabbed old tools, and returned. A rusted wrench, a screwdriver, anything. He worked for an hour, then 2, then 3, until finally a bolt snapped loose, then another. The panel gave a small shift. A low metallic groan echoed through the ground. Ryan stopped, looked around. The sound had traveled too far, too loud, too deep into the silence. Then he pulled. Hard. The panel lifted slightly. Cold air rushed out from below. Not normal air. Different. Dry. Stale. Like it hadn't been touched in years. Ryan froze. What is that? He shined his flashlight down. A staircase. Metal steps. Leading underground. Deep. Dark. Endless. For a moment he didn't move. Every instinct told him to stop. To walk away. To forget everything. But then he remembered something. Because of what's under it. Ryan swallowed hard and stepped down. The first step creaked under his weight. Then the second. Then the third. Each step took him further from the surface. Further from sunlight. Further from anything familiar. The air got colder. He could hear his own breathing echoing off the walls. Drip, drip, drip. Water somewhere in the dark. But not natural water. Controlled. Intentional. After what felt like 10 minutes, He reached a corridor. Concrete walls, old pipes running along the sides, faint markings, numbers, symbols, half erased. Government-grade construction. Just like the man said. Ryan walked slowly, flashlight shaking in his hand. "This can't be real," he muttered. But it was. Then he saw something ahead. A massive door. Steel. Thick. With a faded warning sign still barely visible. Authorized personnel only. Beyond this point. Project Hollow Core. Ryan stopped. His breath caught. Project Hollow Core? He stepped closer. The door had a keypad. Dead. No power. But beside it, a manual wheel lock. He grabbed it. Turned. Nothing. Tried again. Stronger. The metal screamed under pressure. Then, click! The door shifted. A deep rumble echoed through the tunnel, like something waking up after a long sleep. Ryan pushed. The door slowly opened. Cold air rushed out again. Stronger this time. Carrying something else. A smell. Not decay. Not rot. But metal. Ozone. Electricity. He stepped inside. And froze. The room was huge. Bigger than anything he expected underground. Rows of old machinery lined the walls. Computers covered in dust. Glass containers. Long pipes running into the floor. And in the center, a massive cylindrical structure. 10 stories tall. Silent. But not dead. Ryan walked forward slowly. "This was under my farm?" he whispered. His flashlight moved across panels. Faded labels. Energy storage. Subsurface mapping. Soil conditioning matrix. He didn't fully understand it. But one thing was clear. This wasn't a farm. It never was. Suddenly, beep. Ryan jumped back. A small screen flickered on near the central structure. Then another. Then another. Power was returning. Somehow. A voice crackled through an old speaker. "Low!" Glitching. "System reactivation detected." Ryan stepped back. "No. No, no, no." The voice continued. "Operator, identity required." The room lights flickered faintly, like the entire underground system was waking up because he was there. Ryan backed away slowly. "I didn't mean to start anything," he whispered. But the system didn't care. It had been waiting. For someone. Anyone. Then a new sound. Footsteps. Not his. From deeper inside the facility. Ryan turned fast. Flashlight pointed forward. Nothing. Then another step. Closer. His heartbeat rose. "Hello?" he called out. Silence. Then a voice. Not from speakers. Not electronic. Real. Human. "You shouldn't have come down here." Ryan froze completely. His flashlight shook. "Who's there?" From the shadows, a man stepped forward. Older, military posture. Dust-covered uniform. Eyes sharp, like he hadn't slept in years. "You activated the system," the man said. Ryan stepped back. "I didn't know what this was." The man studied him, then looked around the room, like he was seeing it wake up after a long coma. "You just woke something that was meant to stay buried." Ryan's voice shook. "What is this place?" The man was silent for a long moment. Then finally, "This farm was never a farm." Ryan stared at him. "It was a containment site." "For what?" Ryan asked. The man looked at the central structure and said the words that changed everything. "Self-regenerating underground energy prototype. Failed military experiment." Ryan blinked. "I don't understand." The man stepped closer. "It was designed to restore dead land. Fix soil. Regrow ecosystems. Heal the earth from below." He paused. "But it didn't stop at soil." Ryan's breath slowed. "What did it do?" The man's voice dropped. "It started rewriting it." Heavy silence filled the room. Then he added, "We buried it. Shut it down. Covered it with fake land records." He looked at Ryan. "And then someone sold it for $1. Ryan whispered, "Why me?" The man didn't answer immediately. Then he said something that hit harder than anything before. "Because the system chose whoever was desperate enough not to ask questions." Ryan felt his stomach drop. I didn't ask because I had nothing left, he said quietly. The man nodded slowly. That's exactly why it worked. Suddenly, the central machine hummed louder. Lights across the facility turned on one by one, deeper systems activating. Something was coming online. The man turned sharply. No, it's fully waking up. Ryan stepped back. What happens if it wakes up completely? The man looked at him, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Then it won't need the surface anymore. The ground beneath them vibrated slightly, a low pulse, like a heartbeat, slow, then faster. Ryan stared at the machine, then the man, then the shaking ground. And in that moment, he understood something terrifying. This wasn't just a discovery. It was an awakening, and it had chosen him to start it. The lights flickered again. The system spoke one final time. Full activation initiated. Ryan whispered, "What did I just do?" And above them, the farm began to change. Enjoyed this story? Tell me in the comments. Would you have entered that underground facility or walked away? And don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic stories like this one.